Life teaches us that growth comes through knowledge and action. And here on Jamaica Magazine, we bring you the stories and lessons that help us all move forward together. I'm Theodore Henry, and we have so much lined up just for you. Stay tuned.
This is your reminder on how to mark your ballot. Easy and confidential. When you receive your ballot, take a moment to read it carefully. Mark your ballot clearly with an X beside the symbol of the candidate of your choice. Use only the pencil provided. Make sure it is visible. Once you're done, fold the ballot as instructed and return it to the presiding officer. Your vote is your voice. Make your mark, make it count.
Good day, I'm Lisa Rowe, and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, August 27, 2025. The Victoria Jubilee Hospital has been gifted fetal Doppler machines to strengthen its capacity to provide specialized maternal care. The items were presented by the Jamaica United Relief Association, JURA, as part of a long-standing support for the institution. Senior Medical Officer at the hospital, Dr. Garth McDonald, welcomed the contribution and lauded JURA's donation of approximately $500,000 or 80 million Jamaican dollars over the last decade. These contributions ranged from ventilators, incubators, and infusion pumps to furniture and even blankets.
They have taken on the nursery head-on with the needs that are there, and this in turn would have saved the lives of so many more Jamaican neonates that are born and kept alive at our nursery, which does have a survival rate of greater than 70% for all babies who would end up on a ventilator or needing some form of respiratory support.
President of JURA Foundation, Len Johnson, expressed pride in contributing to the hospital's mission of saving lives.
We all recognize the critical role which they play in the lives of countless Jamaican families, particularly expecting mothers and newborns. Their tireless work aligns with JURA's mission to support vital healthcare services, and we're honored to donate these equipment.
Approximately $535 million in grants have been dispersed to more than 100,000 students under the Program of Advancement Through Health and Education PATH ahead of the new academic year. Payouts are scheduled from now through September 2. There will be a break on September 3, but disbursement continues on September 4 and 5. Chief Technical Director of the Social Security Division in the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, Audrey Dear Williams, says the payment will reflect the increased rate of $5,000 per student, up from $3,500.
Preparing for back to school can be challenging for parents. And so this is additional support to the parents who are amongst the poorest in the country. And this is an assistance to help them to prepare for back to school.
Other grant increases in PATH benefits are $150,000 for bachelor's degree bursaries, $40,000 for diploma or associate degree programs, $35,000 for CAPE, and $25,000 for CSEC and skills training. The application period is now open. The Ministry of Education, Skills, Youth and Information has allocated $2.1 billion to repair schools impacted by Hurricane Beryl. This is to ensure affected institutions are ready to welcome students for the new academic year. Permanent Secretary Dr. Kassan Troop says the funds are in addition to the $628 million provided for routine maintenance and minor repairs to schools. She was speaking at a JIS think tank. According to Dr. Troop, contracts have been signed and procurement completed to begin the repair process, with some work already underway.
The good thing, though, is that the schools are operational. They can operate as we fix, as we address. And there is funding in place to complete all schools that have been impacted by Hurricane Beryl.
Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, Olivia Grange, has announced plans to re-establish the one-stop shop for entertainment event approvals island-wide. Minister Grange says the centralized permit system will enhance operational efficiency across the entertainment and creative industries while simplifying the event approval process for stakeholders.
Persons or organizations seeking to put on an event can make a single application that will see requests for permits channeled through the municipal corporation to the rights agencies, to the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, the Ministry of Local Government, and all the other entities to ensure a smooth way of getting your permits.
The system was first piloted during the COVID-19 pandemic when an online platform was introduced to centralize applications and enhance coordination among agencies. Minister Grange also reveals that discussions are underway with the service provider WePay to help develop the new framework.
So we have engaged them to conduct research and to examine all the touch points with the existing technologies to formulate a single window for entertainment and creative enterprises.
Minister Grange was speaking at the recent contract signing for the group health insurance component of the Jamaica Entertainers and Creatives Insurance Plan. And finally, the Electoral Office of Jamaica EOJ says only presiding officers appointed by the agency are authorized to verify voter ID cards using integrity lamps. Addressing concerns in the public domain, the EOJ says no integrity lamp outside of the official equipment issued by the EOJ will be used in the polling stations during the verification process. In a release on Tuesday, the EOJ clearly states that no other person, including indoor agents, has the authority to carry out such verification of voter ID cards. The EOJ is therefore reminding all registered political parties of the laws that govern the procedures that apply to operations at polling stations. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Lisa Rowe. Thanks for watching.
Watersheds are vital to Jamaica's environment and communities as they collect, store, and supply the fresh water we rely on for drinking, farming, and daily use. They also help prevent flooding, reduce soil erosion, and support biodiversity. Learn more next.
Jamaica, the land of wood and water. Preserving the rich history of our island's natural bounty is centered on the core ideal of sustainability. So, with every precious drop of rainfall harvested into the beautiful canopy of the island, increasing the urgency to safeguard our water sources is everyone's responsibility. An area of land that allows for the drainage of rainwater into a common place like a pond or river is known as a watershed. Now, you may live near a river or drink the water from a bottle, but how much do you know about watersheds and their life-giving role? There are over 100 rivers making up Jamaica's watersheds. These rivers are critical resources to the ecosystem of the land, while empowering our economy. The National Environment and Planning Agency NEPA manages Jamaica's 26 watershed management units WMUs in partnership with key governmental agencies such as the Rural Agricultural Development Authority RADA, the Forestry Department, the Water Resources Authority and other partners. There is one major factor to note in the protection of watersheds, and it's the delicate balance of the communities who earn a living from these areas through agriculture.
So we try to take a bottom-up approach to watershed management. Now that will involve liaising with the communities, getting their inputs prior to going into any given watershed with any intervention. You have to do what we consider to be an assessment of the needs of the community separate and apart from an assessment of the needs of the watershed prior to going in and doing our interventions.
This approach forms part of the integrated watershed and coastal area management model, which takes into consideration the community's views. Under the Watersheds Protection Act of 1963, watershed areas are declared and regulated to conserve the water resources, while allowing residents to gain from popular land economic activities such as farming.
You do have complementary acts that would speak to watershed management. So you have, for example, the RADA Act of 1990 that will allow for the use of extension services, which translate into watershed management as the use of sustainable land management practices with the farmers.
There are 7 other pieces of legislation that support the Major Watersheds Protection Act. Finding the balance between benefiting from the resources in watersheds and preventing its degradation is continuous work by the environmental authorities. In 2015, a $3.9 million Yallah's Hope Watershed Restoration Project was launched as a joint initiative between the government and the Inter-American Development Bank (IDB). The Yallahs and Hope River watershed supply 40% of the drinking water in the densely populated urban parishes of Kingston and St. Andrew.
We would have trained under that project over 5,000 farmers in sustainable land management, and then we would have also did quite a number of studies. We'd have done some replanting in the area. We'd have replanted over 500 hectares.
A major initiative from the Yallah's Hope River Restoration Project was the use of a payment for ecosystem services scheme designed to give an incentive to farmers who rely less on the watersheds.
At the end of that project, we would have, through modeling, showed that we have seen a reduction in about 8% of sediments coming down out of that watershed, and that's a conservative estimate. It goes up to 17% when you factor in the interventions that were done by our partners in these watersheds.
NEPA also established a Yallahs and Hope River Watershed Management Committee to ensure that these results continue. Jamaica's international ranking as a strong and actions-based drive of environmental protection is steadily growing. A Jamaican Path from Hills to Ocean project is the latest initiative to restore 3 major watersheds across the island in the next 5 years. The $1.05 billion Jamaican dollar project is a joint partnership between the government and the European Union, executed by the Planning Institute of Jamaica in support of NEPA and RADA.
So the rapid ecological assessment is expected to inform some of the project activities that will help with the RADA-led components in identifying some areas that will be prioritized for intervention, and those priority will be for trainings for farmers and other techniques that would help with the overall watershed management. The Cassiton Botanical Garden is one particular location within one of the watershed management units that would benefit mostly from some of these activities.
Work will also be done on 2 wetland ecosystems, Winds Morass in Trelawney and the Mason River Protected Area on the border of St. Ann and Clarendon.
And those activities would help with the overall preservation and conservation of those 2 wetland areas to stem or kind of address some of the challenges we are currently facing with issues of encroachment or solid waste deposits, and also the general sensitization through the use of signage and public education.
The project will also flow into the protection of Jamaica's marine life.
So the assessment of seagrass, the health and distribution of seagrass beds within the Ocherius Marine Park and the Helsha, Half Moon Bay area will also be assessed, so we can see if the activities implemented over the 5-year period would have helped with the health or the general health of the marine environment in these areas.
Don't waste water. Turn on your tap at half blast. Plant a tree. The more, the better. Do not litter. Proper waste disposal prevents your garbage from getting into our rivers and streams. Be environmentally friendly. Get involved and help protect the earth. The work to protect our watersheds aligns with Jamaica's signatory to the Paris Agreement on Climate Change to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius Equivalently, our Vision 2030 national plan also prioritizes balancing sustainable use of the environment and reducing poverty. Through climate-smart steps to better use the lands and the hills of our watersheds and reduce the degradation of our coastlines, the value of protecting Jamaica's watersheds today will pay the price for securing the future of the island.
Goodbye to the paper trail. Your motor vehicle registration certificate has gone fully digital. No more stickers, no more paper clutter, just one thing you'll need: a valid email address. It's faster, it's safer, it's smarter.
Jamaicans living overseas are still required to file their taxes for their businesses back home, ensuring compliance and contributing to the nation's development even while abroad. Here's how to file your taxes while living overseas.
Filing taxes might seem complicated, especially if you're living abroad. But as a Jamaican citizen or resident, it's essential to stay compliant no matter where you are in the world. Let's dive into what you need to know about filing taxes in Jamaica while living overseas. First things first, who exactly needs to file taxes in Jamaica? Whether you're self-employed, have multiple sources of income, or even run a business, the tax filing requirements apply to you.
If you have a business here, you rent a property, or you have assets for which you earn an income from, and among other things, you are required to file a return even if you're living overseas.
Even if you're abroad, your tax responsibilities remain unchanged. So what exactly do you need to file your taxes in Jamaica? The documents required depend on your type of business or income.
We need a bank statement. We need a profit and loss account, a financial statement, invoices, receipts, expenses. The list is not too much. It depends on the activity that you are in. So maybe you are a taxi operator or you operate a restaurant, then you need income and expenses. But whatever documents, proper records are important for tax filing. If you produce those and you're overseas, it would mean that you would now have to upload them to our website as proof to what you just filed.
If you work in another country for a few months, your income from that country must also be reported in Jamaica. Your worldwide income now comes into play, meaning you must account for earnings from every source.
So you are a Jamaican tax resident if you are ordinarily resident here for 183 days. You are resident. Now, if you go abroad and you work 3 months and you work in another jurisdiction another 3 months, your income is not only originated in Jamaica here, but you have some from America, some from Canada, some from the Caribbean. Your worldwide income now comes into play, whereby you are required to account for all those income from the different sources.
Jamaica's tax system operates on a self-assessed basis. This means you're responsible for reporting your income and ensuring that everything is accurate.
You're allowed to have the discretion to tell the government and people of Jamaica through a tax return how much you earn for the year from any source locally as well as internationally.
So when should you file? All Jamaican residents are required to file their taxes annually by March 15th. But paying taxes isn't just a requirement, it also brings personal benefits.
First of all, one global benefit is that as a Jamaican, the feeling of filing and making your payments is supporting national development, such as healthcare, education, infrastructure, and security, and of course to fund the government's national programs. So then secondly, there are individual benefits now, and that is most Jamaicans would like to have what we call their NHT benefit.
One last thing to remember. If you're working abroad and taxes aren't automatically deducted from your income, you must file a tax return in Jamaica. Even if taxes are deducted in the country where you're working, filing in Jamaica is still necessary for full compliance.
So that all the statutory deductions can be done. If they are deducted, then you still need to file your declaration or your tax return, as we call it here in Jamaica, so that it can be declared. Some persons may have income while abroad here in Jamaica.
Staying compliant with your tax obligations is essential, no matter where life takes you. Visit Tax Administration Jamaica's website at www.jamaicatax.gov.jm to file your taxes.
The following is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
We estimate that there are about 20 to 25,000 who are unemployed because they do not have any skill. They are a loss to our economy. And we have tasked hard to find these 25,000. Go out into the communities, put on your training fairs, have specific agents out there doing your reconnaissance and surveillance and finding these youngsters. Get them into your training program. Offer them stipends and bus fare and lunch money. But more than that, what they need mentoring. Because oftentimes they simply do not know about the opportunities that exist. They exist on the periphery of the system and they are skeptical of the system and they don't believe that the system is set up for them. Your country needs you.
Be smart. Choose hard.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
As Jamaicans head to the polls, the Governor-General, often seen as a ceremonial figure, plays a key constitutional role in the democratic process. Let's find out more.
When Jamaica goes to the polls, all eyes are on the candidates, the voters, and the campaign trail. But behind the scenes, a constitutional process unfolds, one that ensures the orderly and impartial transition of executive power. At the heart of that process is the Governor-General.
The transition of executive power is a hallmark of any resilient and successful democracy, of which Jamaica is. And so that begins firstly with a notification from the Prime Minister for the dissolution of Parliament.
That formal request triggers two critical actions.
Firstly, the dissolution of Parliament per Section 64 of our Constitution, and the second, the appointing of a date for the taking of the polls or general election and the nomination day per Section 19 of the Representation of the People Act, ROPA.
The Governor-General signs two proclamations, one to dissolve Parliament, the other naming the election and nomination dates. They are sent to the Clerk of the Houses of Parliament.
The Governor-General also formally advises the Speaker of the House and the President of the Senate via letter, and we send copies of the proclamation to the Jamaica printing services to be gazetted. And the gazette is the formal public notification. We also send copies to the Cabinet Secretary to notify the executive branch.
Next, the Director of Elections sends the Governor General the writs of election.
The writ of elections is a legal notice for a returning officer to conduct an election in each constituency. So 63 writs come here from the Director of Elections, and the Governor General has to sign each, and they're sent back to the Director so that he can dispatch to each returning officer.
As election day draws near, another special appointment is made.
The Governor General also, closer to the election day, names members to appoint to the constituted authority per section 44A of the ROPA. Now, the constituted authority is a very special body that operates during election day and even 6 months after, and they are tasked with overseeing the elections and halting the poll where necessary per the Act. The Governor General appoints 2 members and on the advice of the Prime Minister. One is a Privy Councillor and the other a retired judge.
Once the ballots are cast and counted, the Governor General awaits formal results from the Director of Elections.
The Director of Elections will send back those 63 writs of election, and in addition, he will send an official notice on the results of the election, and this is Form 21 that's found in the second schedule of the ROPA. Each Form 21 from each returning officer will have the name of the person that was successful in that constituency and signed by the returning officer.
This is also accompanied by a cover letter from the Director of Elections indicating the winning political party. The winning party's General Secretary then submits a letter signed by all elected members, naming the person who commands their confidence, usually the party leader. The Governor General invites that person to form the next government and sets a date for the swearing-in ceremony.
If the elections go in favor of the opposition, then the Governor General will have to write to the Prime Minister to advise him that he will be appointing a Prime Minister designate. It's important to note that in any case, the Prime Minister or the current Prime Minister, the incumbent, remains the Prime Minister up to the date of the swearing-in ceremony. The same thing is done for appointing a leader of the opposition. Section 80 of our Constitution says the Governor General must appoint the person that has the majority confidence of the members elected to the House who do not support the government. The Governor General will invite the Prime Minister to take his oath of allegiance and oath of office. And following that day, he officially becomes the Prime Minister of Jamaica. The Prime Minister will then name his cabinet, and per Section 70, he will advise the Governor General on those members, and they will come to King's House to take their oaths and assume their position as members of the cabinet. It's not through there. Senators are then appointed per sections 35 of the Constitution, 13 on the advice of the Prime Minister, and 8 on the advice of the Leader of the Opposition. And following that, we have the establishment of ministry departments and agencies per section 77, the appointment of subject and departments.
From dissolving Parliament to swearing in the nation's leaders, the Governor General's work guarantees the seamless transfer of executive power, preserving the stability, order, and democratic traditions of Jamaica.
We're at the end of today's show, but be sure to join us again tomorrow for another lineup geared towards providing you with information on the government's policies and initiatives for building a better Jamaica. You may visit our website, jis.gov.jm, to rewatch this show or to catch up on the others we have on the site. I'm Theodore Henry, telling you thanks for watching from our production team here at the JIS.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.